Welcome to Radical Underdogs, and you join us at Cadwell Park. Look at this new suit, and that was because the old suit was had a hole in its knees from working on the car. Anyway, lights are off and we're going. We've got Christian Dan in number 20 next to us. It is a narrow track at Cadwell Park. It is very easy to come together with cars. Chris Whitmore having a bad start, and just passing him, and actually that outside train, you can see cars bumper to bumper on the outside. That's Matt Crozier in 848 up against Adam Lawrence in the car 73 ahead of him, and you can see that outside train just got a bit slowed onto the first corner because everyone's trying to, you pick, basically there's two trains often at the start of a race at Cadwell Park, and you end up in one train or the other, and I just picked the inside line. That happened to be the fastest one, so up a few positions already. Qualified quite poorly. You can see Matt Crozier alongside Adam Lawrence going down into park at the end of the park straight. You can see up ahead there's definitely some sort of contact going on. You can see tyre smoke everywhere. There's cars off on the grass. That's probably Jordan Pimley up ahead, and then passing a white car, which we'll come back to later. That we'll see who that was in a bit when they probably come back and pass us, because we've been quite slow all around Cadwell Park, and I'll come to maybe some reasons why that is a bit later on. But I didn't do any testing, so this is after 15 minutes of qualifying. This is the next 15 minutes out on this circuit since last year. And Cadwell Park is one of those circuits that you have to be really precise on. You lose a lot of time if you get a few things wrong. It's not a very forgiving circuit. It's definitely not very forgiving as you go up through the mountain section, all bends. You can see the barriers super close. I've been off into that barrier, and I've been off into some of these barriers down here before. It's very easy to find the barriers through this section of corners. Love the circuit as a single car driver though, as a track day or something like that, or even in qualifying. I do love the circuit, but as a race circuit for cars, I'm sure it's great for bikes, but for cars it's just, you know what, after this weekend, and you might see definitely after the next race, you'll see why I'm saying this, but I'm not sure I'll be coming back to Cadwell Park as we'll see what it is next year, but certainly after the end of this weekend I certainly felt like absolutely I didn't want to do this again. Losing touch already with the cars in front. The first corner there at Coppice is flat in the MX-5, up through Charlie's, which just not really getting right, kind of sticking in fourth or going down to third, but you can see cars off on the grass, knocking off the bumper there. That's Kev Bird. You can see that bumper flapping around, a bit of weight saving there for Kev as he's gone wide out of Charlie's down on the park straight. 3 or 4 cars wide. This is basically the only secure overtaking place on Cadwell. The rest of the overtaking places you've got are all a bit dodgy. You're likely to come into contact, or you're going to force your way through, and we might see that as we come up against the back of car 73 Adam Lawrence here through the gooseneck. I'm not sure video does it justice as one of the it's a great corner for motorsport actually. If you do get a chance to do track days and stuff, gooseneck, what a corner. But as I say, racing it's not quite, it's just today I do love and hate Cadwell. Going down on, this is the second lap going up through the mountain once again. You can see the spectators up here on the left, and again if you want to go and visit a break almost side by side, actually Adam almost trying to get side by side through Paul Benz, which I've seen it done. It's just not really one of those places that you're going to pass unless the person in front has made a mistake. I think that's Johnny Greensmith behind us in that red and white car. Normally it is, let's see a number as he goes past. That number 1, yeah, I think, pretty sure that is Johnny Greensmith going past. You see getting a better exit, and I didn't really fight that. I knew Johnny was much faster than me today. It's weird actually, when I started this season, you'll see the earlier races of this year, I was in the top 5, I finished at Brands Hatch, whereas I'm just struggling to keep out the bottom 5 in this race. I'll talk about some tyres a bit later, a bit of a controversial topic, but in the meantime we've got Kev Bird behind us with his bumper flapping around. He's going to get a good slipstream as you go down the park straight. He's got the inside line into park and braking a little bit later, finding his way through. Actually, I don't really want to be directly behind him with that bumper flapping around. I know they're quite light and made of kind of plastic, but even so I don't really want to be slamming into that at 100 miles an hour through the gooseneck, thank you very much. Anyway, so Kev's not getting a black and orange flag. Question whether he should be. Again, maybe it's not dangerous. Bit of foreboding, bit of foreshadowing, I should say. We'll see about that a bit later, actually. But behind us, with Kev actually not losing any time really to getting Kev and Johnny through there, because actually, if we're going to fight it, it is possible to probably hold them off for half a lap or a lap or so if you were like super defensive, but you would just lose so much time to the cars in front. And for me in this race, I know that a bit of a disadvantage, both. Kev doing his signature move, actually. He's done that to me in years past, down at the end of all bends into the hairpin. It's a tricky move to get done, that, and you kind of have to be alongside as you exit the end of it. It's a tricky move, but it's quite easy to come together with the car that you're overtaking. But it is a possible overtaking position, and because Adam thought that, this is what I mean, because Adam thought that position, he's now fallen into my clutches a little bit, and if he didn't fight it so much, he wouldn't have been falling back so much and losing so much time. So it's a bit of a lesson of MX-5 racecraft I've had over the years, where if there's a car behind you that's just going to pass you at some point, and Johnny Greensmith's behind me, he's going to pass me, right? Especially on a race like today, where I've qualified 17th and he was qualifying, I don't know where he qualified, probably in the top 3 or something. And there's no point. As you can see up ahead, that's Matt Crozier off the road. He's going to be slow as we go through Chris Curve, but there's not really a way through. Like I said, I'm not really going to get side by side through the gooseneck, so I had to lift off a little bit rather than just slamming it side by side. You see Matt really taking all the road and then some as he goes through the gooseneck in order to try and capture back some time. I think Matt's definitely keen to get some of that time back. So he must have lost that position there to Adam Lawrence when he went wide there. And we've been side by side with Matt a few times this year, and he's going to go and try and do side by side again, it looks like. Here, as I say, obviously Adam was quite slow out of the mountain. They're side by side. Is there contact? Yes, there is sort of contact. There is definitely contact up ahead. Adam crosses the grass, and and there's a yellow flag with a car retired off on the side of the road there. But meanwhile, you've got Matt with a bit between his teeth trying to get past Adam there, and really tried to force that move through Hall Bends, but couldn't make it work. And like I say, unless the car in front is kind of compliant, and Adam hasn't shown himself to be a driver that's particularly compliant even when there's a faster car coming through, then I question the wisdom of that move really. Anyway, but we are still fighting up ahead. You can see cars off on the grass again. You can see locking a wheel almost into the back there, and I'm kind of almost backing off, and actually because he was slow, I missed the gear shift. I was definitely faster than Matt as I came out, and you can see giving him a little bit of a nudge actually down the track. I thought I wasn't going to get past him. Sent him into overdrive, giving him like a turbo boost, trying to find his way past. But as I'm covering off that inside line, and 2 wheels on the grass there for Matt, he's definitely, I don't know, his bit of red mist maybe he's come down. He's definitely really wanting to get past Adam here. Just a shame I missed that gear change. I would have been alongside Matt. Down into the only overtaking place on the circuit, which is down in Park. So you can see what I mean about this circuit, and if someone really wants to get past, or maybe they are faster, it tends to get people into a frustrated position, and then they make sort of mistakes, and then you end up with contact, and then cars end up in the barrier, and then we end up spending thousands of pounds repairing our cars. So that's sort of why I don't like Cadwell. It's a sort of big, you can see missing the gear change. I had to go down to second, so I completely messed up the run down into the mountain section, and now I'm kind of lost a bit of time to Matt now. So actually you can see Adam's got off the road at the hairpin, so he's just pushing a little bit too hard, and that has given us a nice easy pass into Barn. So just taking advantage of being slow, actually obviously coming off the grass, you're not going to get good traction out of the grass at the hairpin there. So managing to pass Adam, and you can see Matt in all of that has just found his way miles ahead. Oh, and there's a bumper on, that was Kev's bumper on the track. Almost, that was, let's have a replay of this. That bumper was so close, and because avoiding action, had two wheels on the grass on the exit of a flat out corner, over 100 miles an hour. I shouldn't have got a white suit, I don't think. Anyway, all that avoiding action has meant I'm super slow around Charlie's, and that is number 65, Peter Williams, who is having a great drive actually. I think he started a bit further back and he started 19th and he's making his way through the field actually. So great drive from Peter, just carried that speed all the way down the park straight, and there was no point in me fighting that into park. I was already kind of front wheel next to his rear wheel, so I was realistically not going to keep that position, and so actually I'm going to have to try and find my way back past Peter here, because he just passed me up as a result. That bumper with Kev Budd directly on the racing line, I did say a bit of foreshadowing from earlier anyway. So the bumper's now off the car obviously, and are now aware of where it is on the circuit. Someone else might have well hit it by the time I come back round, because it was bang on the racing line, basically down at Coppice. Behind us you can see Adam Lawrence being a bit quicker through these section of corners, but coming from a long way back and just firing it down the inside, as if he hasn't learnt from last time. He's going to be off the circuit again for the second lap in a row down at the hairpin, and then finding my way back through at Barn. But by chucking it down the inside, and I hate to call things a dive bomb, but that's a dive bomb, chucking it down the inside like that has meant Peter Williams has now made his way miles up the circuit. So not realistically now the three of us are just not going to catch Peter. So this is what I mean about working together as a group of cars. If you think you can catch with the group in front, then by sort of chucking stuff down the inside at random corners where there's a car or two lengths behind, that even if you get past, catching that car up now is going to be pretty much impossible. It's a 15-minute race and we're much of the way through this race now. So I actually qualified quite a lot faster than Peter, I think maybe a second or two a lap faster. So as long as I can bang in some qualifying laps, that is now possible to catch him. And you can see behind us Chris Whitmore actually got past Adam as a result of that as well. So they're having their own battle behind us, and if they end up fighting, they'll probably not get past me, because again, if they're fighting, then you just lose a lot of time. Locking a wheel, you can see just locking a wheel down into the downhill braking into Mansfield. You can see behind us, that's what I mean, the cars, by Chris going defensive basically at every opportunity, and because Adam is attempting to pass at every opportunity, you can see actually getting all out of shape, and now they're side by side as they go through Hall Bends, which actually Adam made that one work, I think, because Chris had a bad exit. But just look at how much time has been lost. They were basically nose to bumper at the start of that section, and now we've just basically broken clear. There's not going to be a slipstream benefit as they go down the start finish straight. So that's what I mean. Anyway, a bit of I did sort of say I'd promise I'd say why I'm a bit slower in this race, and there's several reasons, I think, but one of the main ones is probably the tyres that I've got on, which I've only bought 2 sets of tyres this entire year, and also of course I didn't do testing. So like I said, Cadwell's quite a difficult circuit to get right. I haven't been here for a year and spent 15 minutes driving around it in qualifying. So you're not really going to expect to be close to the top like I was earlier in the year. But anyway, the tyres at the moment, on my second set of tyres, I'm going to go back to my first set, I think, for the last race of the season. They're not worn down, and this is just heat cycles, and maybe in the next race, if we get any time, I will do a bit of a garage corner on the whole tyre situation, because there are basically 3 suppliers of the same tyre at the moment, and 2 are quite clearly better than the other one. And the tyre itself, these are the Kumho KS somethings, HS, whatever. You can look it up. I'll put it in the comments or something afterwards. But these Kumho tyres, I mean, probably not a bad road tyre to be honest, but as a track tyre, after a few heat cycles, they just lose their competitive edge. So you've got the front runners, changing their their tyres way before their end of life, even though they get shaved down. So yeah, you get a road tyre, it's got 8-9 mil of tread. The tyre that we're running here has been shaved to sort of 2, 3, 4 mil maybe. I think it's shaved to about 4 mil of tread. Some of them are shaved even more than that. And you're not getting to the end of the life of the tyres before you're having to throw them out, because after, I don't know how many heat cycles, but maybe not more than half a dozen heat cycles, they're pretty much gone in terms of their, I think the hardness just increases too much, and you just end up being slow basically on the set of tyres. So it's a bit annoying really when you're on this series, and of course it is just like any motorsport. Yeah, you put more money in and you're likely to be faster, but it is one of the downsides of this championship that these tyres are not really suitable, I don't think, for what we're trying to do here, which is a low cost one mark championship. But if you're having to change your tyres every weekend, it's not really a low cost championship anymore, is it? So especially when you're not able to get tyres from the cheapest supplier, so you have to go to the more expensive supplier, and then they have to be shaved by a third party in addition to that to be somewhat competitive, and then they only last 1 or 2 rounds. So anyway, that's my rant about tyres. I'll save it for the next one. Actually, that's pretty much it. And it'll be alright if you're spending a bit more money and the tyre supplier would actually turn up every round. Maybe you're paying for the extra wheel balancing you get for free and all that sort of stuff that's a benefit from the tyre supplier turning up at your rounds. But that hasn't even happened. So I think even at this round, I don't think the tyre supplier was even there for at least one of the days, if not both of the days. So if you had a puncture, good luck, mate. I hope you've got some spare tyres and wheels with you, because you're not getting them changed. Anyway, so coming round, and we can see caught Peter Williams nicely over the last, just really banging in some qualifying laps, and this is what actually this made this race somewhat enjoyable, because it was a bit scrappy earlier on, wasn't it? So crossing the line, and the checker flag is out. We are finishing in position 16. Not a great race, one up from qualifying in position 17 out of I think 23, 24, so it's definitely not the 5th from earlier in the year, but you can see a bit of lacklustre waving. I hope you enjoyed it though, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks very much for watching.